So I've come to believe that the incarnation is not only the heart of Christian theology, but it's actually our best pedagogy. It's a genius pedagogy, because God, sovereign that he is, knows our hearts, knows that we don't understand anything well enough to really believe them to be true until we see that they can be worked out in life. So I would say that I've come to, be pretty passionate about, working things out in life and see what they mean for life. Most of my life I've been thinking about those questions, of how do you, not only what you believe to be true, but how does it work out in the way the world turns out?
And that has a lot to do with your whole subject of vocation.
Yeah, it does.
You've spoken a lot about that as well.
Yeah. So this last book I've done, The Visions of Vocation, it has one question from the beginning to end in the book, and that is, can you know the world and still love the world? Which for me is not abstract, it isn't conceptual, it isn't a very theoretical thing. It actually is, I would say, the hardest of all the questions we're asked in the world. I don't know whether it makes sense to respond to you as World Vision person, but you know your world pretty well, Steve, what World Vision's about and why it exists. And you know that the longer you look at the world, the harder it is to care about it in many ways, because it just gets so messy. It's such a broken world. It's so complicated, actually. I was telling the session this morning that I spent my whole life quoting Lord Bismarck, the German chancellor from the mid-19th century, who said famously, if you want to respect sausage or law, then don't watch either being made. And I don't think it's cynicism. I mean, you could hear it that way. I don't think it's sort of a 19th century German version of House of Cards. It's not like that. I think actually it's a hard-boiled realism. Because if you're going to stick with a vocation in the public square, in the public world, you're going to have to figure out how to do that and not be turned off by it, not to become disgusted with it, not become overwhelmed by it. But you're going to have to figure out some way to step into it. And I would use the language of to see yourself as responsible for love's sake, for the way things turn out in history.